Hello everyone. So today we'll be covering about the blocking processes. How do you identify the blocking query or blocking any of the process in the SQL? Uh, so for your information, I'm using MSSQL server here. So we'll be seeing how we can identify them and also how we can kind of end them or kill those processes and how we can avoid while we are writing any kind of a query or store procedure or something of that sort. Okay, so the very built-in which you guys might be already aware of. Okay, this is something that you will see. The SP2 is the one which most of us go to option to identify any of the blocking process or the blocking query. So this does give us a very brief about which all the processes are being blocked and what is the status of them. So I'll just execute here. So you can see here the status of each of those process IDs and what is the type of command and on what database it is being run. Okay, so when was the last time it ran? So all these things you can see. But yes, this should be good enough. If you see any of the status is blocking, and then you can simply use the kill option. Okay, kill, and then you give the SPID. So that should uh, remove the blocker on your server. Okay, that's one way. But otherwise we also have another uh, dynamic view, okay, that gives us more option or more details about these process and each of the status. Okay, so you can use this dm exec requests. Okay, this is a dynamic management view. I have written in the comment here. I'll be posting these things so that you can also go through later on. Okay, but yes, so this also give us a good amount of information for you to decide to kill or keep the process running, you know. So let me just run this. So you can see this has a more information compared to SPO2. Okay, so you have other details also, but most of the time we just want the SPID and the status of that process. Okay, all that matters to us is the status. If there is anything as blocking, and then we'll take that into consideration for the next steps. Okay, so this has the other details which might not be useful when you are trying to fix it immediately. Okay, but if you are going in depth, you want to know which are being blocked only on the current date, not from the previous dates, and only by the certain requests, right? On only on certain type of command. You don't want to kill any of the other process. You just want to kill the queries that are being run. Right. So I don't want to kill this task manager or any of the other checkpoints. Right. I just want to kill those queries that are running and creating the blockers. Okay. You can put filter on that. Like I said, only today once. I don't want what happened yesterday. Even if it is still blocking, let it be there because you didn't see any issue coming from there. Right. You can also filter it based on the database it is being run. Okay, you don't have to kill all those processes that are running on different database. Let us say I have a database called as an company, and then that's more important for me because the transactions are happening very often and I need to make sure it is not having any blocking process. So I'll only put filter on that. Okay, so that's one way. So of course you can create a job and automate this to run every 10 minutes, every 1 hour, or if it is not the transactions are not frequent on the database, you can take a uh, chance to run it only one day. Okay, it all depends on the business need. You can simply schedule a job and then you can have this kind of a script written there, so it will go on executing as per the schedule. Okay, that's one way. So these are the main two ways how we find the blocking process and then we take a further action. Okay, so let me just explain you. So what we are doing here is the session ID is something that I have declared here as a variable, which is a int, because you can see the session ID here are int. Okay, this is not having any varchar or something. Okay, it's a int type. So as long as it is not null, I'm gonna continue with the next execution. Okay. So what I want to do is kill those processes which are being stored in the session ID variable. Okay. And I'm going to execute. So this will help me clean up those blocking processes as per the schedule. Okay. So you saw the ways how we can find it. There are also other ways. You don't have to run a query. You can just go through the uh, directly using the existing reports or views. Okay. There are other two ways I will show you. One is you click on the server here, right click on them. Okay. And you come to the activity monitor. Okay. So I have it opened here. In the activity monitor, there is a process section. In this, you can still see which of the queries that are running, on what database they are running, and what is the status of them. Okay, so from here also you will get the SPID, okay, the session ID or the process ID, and you can still decide from here which one to keep and kill. Okay, so the blocked by column that will tell me which are being blocked by whom or what query. Okay, that's another way. That's the third way to find. And the another fourth way is same. You go to the server, right click, you go to the reports, standard reports, and you have activity all blocking transactions. Okay, so this will again give me a kind of a report with all those request IDs and what all the tasks that are happening. So this is kind of a report you can use to know at that point how was the condition of the server, and then you can again decide it as per the transactions that happens on the server. Okay, so I hope it helps. Four ways that we discussed. One is sp2, which is a go-to method always, and another one is using dynamic management views, okay, which is for the more detailed information on those processes running. And how are you going to automate having it run as per the schedule every 10 minutes, 1 hour, or once in a day. Okay, what lines of code you need. And yes, how we can avoid even before that, right? So these are the steps. Once you identify and see there is an issue and how you're going to fix it, but how are we going to avoid? So one is, of course, you can use the kill. So like I said, you can schedule a job and run it so that you don't have to do or even see the issue before it's happening, it is being taken care. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is make sure you use the indexes properly, because indexes plays a major role. So if you're not heard or not aware of, maybe I will be making an video on those, and then we can discuss how important the indexes are. Okay, that plays a very crucial role when you're writing a query or when you're creating a table and identifying the foreign key, primary key, and on which column or on which value you are making it creating an index, right? So it's very important. Okay, so maybe you'll understand better when you understand what our indexes are. Okay, and of course long running transactions, please do take care, because if you have any uh, query that is updating the values very frequently and it is updating in a huge uh, it's taking a lot of rows or lot of records at a time to update, right? So for example, I am saying update the status column in one of the table where the date range is given between 1 year, right? So that's a lot of data that you're going to update. So it will, of course, it'll run for a longer time. So what happens that chances are high that it might create a blocking process. So take care of such long running transactions. And we have other ways how we can avoid, of course, explicit logs. Sometimes we do mention the explicit logs while writing a queries. Okay, so with tab lock and hold lock. Okay, I can go through these how and what these are. Okay, so of course I'll be covering these when we'll be writing a complex queries or a kind of designing the database, from creating the tables, inserting the rows, identifying the relations between them, and designing the indexes. So we'll be covering that. But yeah, in case if you have already come across of using this tab lock and hold lock, uh, be careful with those. It should not break your database at any point of time. Okay, and like I said, any last transactions, instead of taking for 1 year, you can just take for 1 month at a time, and then keep on running instead of having a date between let's say Jan 1st to December 31st. You can simply run last 30 days and which are not updated recently. So such kind of filters will help you select only a small uh, set of record, and then you can perform the transactions or the updates. Okay. And monitor regularly. Yes, when you create a job and you see there is a more than one blocking process or something, you can also schedule an alert uh, through an email, so that you get to know, okay, your server is at risk having more blocking processes, instead of killing them directly. Okay. So you can create those alerts. You can use this activity monitor every now and then. You can use these reports. Okay. So these are the way how you can avoid before you start noticing this kind of blocking process. Okay, I hope this helps. Okay, so not much that you have to break your head with. Uh, it's a very simple one. Is all are built-in functions, or call it features. Okay, you don't need to write a separate query to identify this. Yeah, you just have to call the existing one. So SPHO2 is one, and the other one is requests. Okay, and other two are only the view mode. I hope it helps. Thank you guys. Bye bye.